Hey guys, I wasn't going to film tonight, but I've got a very busy couple of days and I don't want to be late for my naked truths again. So hi everyone, it's me. It's time for another Not Naked, which is sponsored Trisha Hershberger series Naked Truth, where we talk as candidly and truthfully about a subject as true as possible, straight out the shower, no makeup, wet hair, first take, one take, so on and so forth. And most people choose to do it naked, I choose not to, but either way it's not a sex time thing, it's a vulnerable and honest type thing, it's a tool for the vlogger to be vulnerable and honest. I got the shower about 20 minutes ago. I've got a hair clip in because my hair was driving my nuts. So I wasn't going to film anything at all this afternoon, but then I looked at my schedule for the next couple of days and it is bonkers. And I really don't want to be late for my naked truth again. How is it harder to get them up on time when there's 2 weeks instead of 1 week? I don't know. Anyway, this week's or last week's subject was beauty pageants and Trisha's experience within beauty pageants and just generally the subject of beauty pageants in general. And it's a weird one for me because beauty pageants aren't really a thing in the UK, at least not as far as I'm aware. So my concept of American beauty pageants are mostly through the movies Miss Congeniality and Drop Dead Gorgeous, both of which are kind of breaking of the trends parody comedy films regarding pageantry. And I think it's a very interesting subject, and like many of the primary feminist subjects that do come up, or the ones that have gender issues, the more I hear about it, the more my perception of womanhood and gender issues develop. So as a child, I think, or as a tween young person, I would have thought by nature it would be incredibly sexist and shallow and all of those negative things that come with beauty pageants. And that's not to say that beauty pageants don't come with those, but there are different types of beauty pageants and there are different pros and cons for it. So there isn't, as I said, there isn't really beauty pageantry in the UK as far as I know. There may be, it may just not be in any circles that I know about, or debutante balls or anything like that. From what I know, probably the closest would be things like talent shows, which are completely non-gendered, or dance competitions, or modelling competitions is one of the things that Trisha brought up. I don't know of any modelling competitions. Again, not a field that I have had any particular interest in and therefore haven't explored personally. I guess there must be modelling competitions, I just don't know how they would work. But the way that Trisha described her very positive experience of beauty pageants, there are things like that in the UK where it's team building exercises with Q&As and skill tests and those sort of things, and that is a thing, but it's very non-gendered. Like things like I did the Duke of Edinburgh Award in school, which is a very common thing in the England, which is kind of for teenagers, where it's it's a bunch of like long-term skills. So you learn like a community project. So I did first aiding, which has to last for a certain number of months depending on what tier of the thing you're doing, and a skill and a sport. You have to do those things for several months depending. You can do bronze, silver or gold. And then at the end of it you go on like a camping trip, where you, depending again on what level you go to, it can either be like 2 nights in a campsite, or it can be like cycle 20 miles a day for 3 days only while camping. I did silver, and I never got my certificate because we never did the final presentation. But those things are very positive, and it's about team building and personal presentation, personal skill sets, and proof that you are, capable, social, athletic, all those things. And I think the talent competition part of it and the charity work, it's all very positive. And looking at the kind of the things that as a teenager I would have been like, oh God, so objective, objectifying and so, shallow. Looking at that from the point that I'm at right now is I don't like wearing makeup. I don't feel like I need to wear makeup, but that's because of A, laziness, and B, I like feeling relaxed most of the time, so that when I do put on makeup, when I do put on a fancy dress, people comment and people are like, oh, you look so nice. And you get to feel that little bit of a belle of a ball feeling. When I do put on makeup and I do put in effort, I get that kind of ping because my base level is low. And I kind of like that feeling. And I think all girls want that, or at least all girls that I know, and speaking from my personal experience. And again, probably a lot of men feel like that, but you do want that moment, that Cinderella moment where you walk into a room and everyone gasps and goes, oh, you're so beautiful. And that's a very tempting emotion, particularly for teenagers and teenage women, to get that feeling of everyone look at me, I'm so pretty. And that is not a negative thing, but it can become a negative thing. And that's one of the pageantry things which I think if pageants were a thing when I was a teenager, I would have wanted to have done it. And I probably would have been very disappointed, because with that, highlighting of an individual is by nature the lowering of other individuals. And I probably would not have been the top of the list for a beauty pageant. Mostly, again, because one of the things that I've developed, I'm so rambly today, very tired, it's going to be a long couple of days. One of the things that I've definitely taken to appreciate in the last couple of years is women who do put in effort, women who look beautiful, and it might be that they're just dressed up for the day, or it might be that that's what they do a full face makeup every single day and they look well put together and well presented. It's one thing my mum occasionally comments on, which is, maybe you should try wearing makeup because it makes you look like you've put an effort. And there is something to be said for that. And like things with like beauty vloggers who actively put in time and effort into doing something specific with their appearance, that is something that I do respect. Things like Meg Turney has really developed my opinion of womanhood, and the fact that, if it's something that you love and you appreciate and you put effort into, then that is something to be proud of and something that deserves appropriate praise for something that you've put effort into. And that thing could be your face or your body. Just because I personally don't want to do that every single day doesn't mean that when it's done every single day doesn't lessen someone as a person, which I think teenage me would have been slightly more biased in that front. While for me personally, as I said, I don't wear makeup every single day, but then when I do, I get that little ping, I get the belle of the ball feeling, because people are like, oh, you did something different with your hair. I'm like, yes, I did. So I think that works for me personally. But again, people who spend time, energy, effort, money on improving themselves, both physically, with health and fitness, or with makeup and hair and all those sort of things, like there is a certain respect to someone who wants to improve themselves and is willing to spend time and money and energy on that. And people who have a full face of makeup every single day, regardless of gender, or physically put in a lot of effort, that I think is something that I respect now, rather than dismiss, which is what I would have done in my teenage years. Beauty pageants as a whole, I'm not sure you cannot, with any skills or competitions, you can't guarantee a lack of negative thinking, and I think pageantry will go out of date. I think there will be alternatives. I think there will be talent competitions, there will be makeup competitions. I think a lot of it will go digital. Things like, but I hope it becomes more collaborative than competitive. And it's, again, as someone I've never really been particularly interested or aware of pageantry as a thing other than those two specific movies that I've mentioned, I don't know really how one would think of an alternative, because it's just not a field that I've ever really had a big input into. But I feel like the people who are passionate about it will find other things. A lot of these skills that are developed for pageantry or like talents that develop for pageantry, you can find within other fields like debating and personal presentation. Those sort of things you can get through acting. Dancing and performance is something you can get through dancing and performance type skills. Most of the performance aspects of pageantry you can find in other fields without it being so specifically gendered towards personal appearance. And it's interesting because pageantry by nature is it's a presentation of self, but whether or not it's a true presentation of self, or whether or not in itself is acting, is putting on a persona, is definitely a line that would be interesting to analyse, and how much people are actually being true to themselves and putting them how they feel on the outside, and showing that off, and how much of it is repressing what's on the inside and putting on a mask. And obviously, if it's more one than the other, then that would be considered a lot more healthy than the other one. But anyway, I don't know if I've said anything at all. As I said, it's not a subject that I'm particularly versed in, but it is a really it's lovely to hear someone having a positive experience of pageantry, because as I said, my main experience of it is the impression of it being unhealthy and those two particular movies, and so generally I'm not too in depth with it. But it's really, really lovely to hear someone having a very positive teenage experience where it was collaborative and it was fun and friendly and self-assuring and all those things. And good for charity and all that jazz. Anyway, I'm going to go to bed. I've got a mad couple of days, so wish me luck. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to comment, and I'll see you guys all very soon. Bye 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 bye.